I started on Instagram. I was in high school. It was 12 years ago.
You've got 100k plus subscribers now on YouTube.
It just hit it the other week.
How much money can be made on YouTube?
Insane amounts of money. Like some of the people that are doing well on YouTube pays better than any other platform.
Can you tell if someone is using AI straight away?
Straight away, it's like, don't trust people if I see they're using AI content. As soon as I see something on LinkedIn that's like, you can tell it's AI, you probably don't know what you're talking about. When was the last time you saw a clip and you went and watched the long form?
I don't think I ever have.
The only way to avoid judgment is to be nothing, do nothing, and say nothing. He had about 800 or 900 subscribers when we started working with him, and we were initially just sort of doing short form clips and so on for him from the episodes, like for social media. Yeah, he's grown really well. I think he's about to hit 25,000 subscribers.
Biggest reason most businesses, YouTubes, die before they get anywhere. Josh, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on The Morning Marketer.
No problem. Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to dive into your business journey and everything content. You have been massive inspiration in the YouTube, Instagram space. It's been awesome to get you on here.
Thanks. Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, cool. All right, tell me a little bit about the early days. Where did you start?
Yeah, so I started on Instagram. I was in high school. It was 12 years ago, I think, roughly. And I started an Instagram account that was pretty much just like some inspirational quotes and that kind of thing that I'd found online, because I was like looking at like dream boards and reading a few books, and I just created an account for a bit of fun and didn't think heaps of it. I started posting a bit of content, reached out to a guy because I was like, hey, if you maybe post about my page, like I'll grow. Didn't know about influencer marketing at the time, and he turned around and he was like, yeah, we can do that, but it's like $50, $60 or something like that. And I was just like, these guys are like making a business out of promoting people on social media. And I was just like fascinated with it. And from that point, I just spent a ton of time learning how to grow accounts on social media, how to build pages, build audiences, and pretty much I've been doing it ever since, growing accounts on Instagram, working on YouTube, and sort of everything in between.
You might be my first guest that's ever started on Instagram, which is so exciting. So it was 2014. What was Instagram like back then?
It was very different. There was no algorithm. Like it was just chronological. You posted and stuff showed up in people's feed as it was. There was no stories. I don't think it was even owned by Facebook at that point. I could be wrong. But it was pretty much the only way you could grow was either you had hashtags in your content, and so you were like obsessed with what hashtags you use, compared to nowadays where they pretty much meaningless, but like you'd have so much strategy in your hashtags, and it was just very plain back then. Yeah,
epic. Okay, so 2014, you start growing your Instagram, you turn it into a business. Then what happens?
I tried all sorts like over the years through high school, like selling promotions or like affiliate marketing and just trying everything. I finished high school, which was 2017, end of 2017, and I just wanted to have a crack and see if I could do it full time. And so I thought I'd just start working with clients and help them do the same thing and grow their audience. And so I just focused on that. I focused on working with clients and how we could help them grow their audience on Instagram. It was a lot of personal brands, like a lot of entrepreneurs trying to build personal brands. And so we just helped them mostly through like content and getting them promotions on larger accounts. And that went reasonably well, like pretty quickly got to a point where I could make a full-time income from it. Nice. And that was also the year that I started posting on YouTube. So I started creating videos just showing people what we were doing, because there was just such little information out there at the time. Like if you wanted to learn how to grow on social media, it was pretty much all through like Facebook groups, the occasional blog post, but there wasn't a ton of like people on social media talking about it, or there wasn't a ton of YouTube channels in the space. And so that was the year I started on YouTube as well.
Crazy. Okay, so it almost feels like you've started these channels years before anybody has even clocked on, that you can turn these into businesses and create content businesses for clients, which is so cool. YouTube, what made you, obviously there was the education space, but did you see someone else create content there? Like what made you go to YouTube in the first place?
Yeah, there was another guy, I think he was in like Norway or something, and we always talked a fair bit because he was growing a lot of Instagram accounts at the time, and I think I just knew him through Facebook groups where he was always posting lots of stuff, and he started posting on YouTube and was getting some good traction with it, and I just was like, this guy's information is good, but like I can do it too, or I can do some things better, and so I just jumped into YouTube from there and started creating. It was sort of the first platform I probably started putting out a lot of educational content beyond Facebook, I guess. Yeah.
You've got 100K plus subscribers now on YouTube.
Yeah, just hit it the other week, so I was pretty stoked.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
That's amazing. And I guess, how long did that take you?
Yeah, it's been 8 years on YouTube.
Shit.
And so I'd say the first couple years were a little bit slow, and then there was a few years where it did reasonably well, and then the last year or two it has actually slowed down a bit. I've been posting a little bit less myself, probably a bit more focused on clients and so on, and I also think a little bit people are sort of falling out a little bit with Instagram and so on, like and so that's probably slowed down a few things there, but still managed to tick over 100K, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, epic. And what was the content like when you first started versus now?
I clicked on like my oldest couple videos are unlisted on YouTube, and I clicked on one of them before this, and it was like me in my bedroom as like this 18-year-old kid like trying to talk, and like it's so awkward, terrible lighting, no editing, like horrendous thumbnails, and it was like that for the first wee while, and it's just, I think, slowly over time got a little bit better, and then over many years of that, it's, I guess, got to where it is today.
Yeah, nice. I saw like Alex Hormozi posted his first video ever, and it was like literally shot on this phone, like there was no audio really, horrendous. But I think everyone needs to just start, right? You can't start perfect.
Yeah. I don't think, if you try and start perfect, you're just never going to start, because it's always going to be, you're either going to be really cool setup, but you're going to be awkward on camera, or there's always going to be something that's not particularly great. And no matter how good your first video is, 100 videos later, it's going to be so much better.
Are you going to bring back those old unlisted ones just so we can see the progress?
I could send over like a screenshot or something for the show, and we can put it up. But
nice.
I think I've still got some old ones, like real old ones on the channel, just because I like to leave it there so people can see how bad it was.
I love
it. A few of them are unlisted as well, so I might have to. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, cool. So both of your channels that you've turned into a business have come very personal brand focused. You're the face of that content. Yeah,
the early stuff wasn't. So it was like a lot of content within like travel content, where we'd like source other people's content, find stuff that looked good, and sort of display it around a niche, or we'd create, we'd find motivational quotes and match it up with cool content and create something there. So the early days it wasn't, but then probably ever since maybe 2018, I've more so focused on personal brand, and those other pages we'd either sold or had someone running them, so I wasn't really creating the content, and all the stuff we do nowadays is pretty much always personal brand.
Brand, okay. And for those listening who might be thinking about starting their personal brand, how important has it been for you? Do you have any tips? Crucial.
Like, it's been pretty much all of my clients have come through personal brand, or like referrals that have come from that personal brand. So like I've even had clients come through where someone that I don't even know referred them because that person had watched my YouTube videos or so on. All the work I've got over the years has come through just putting out educational content which helps people and sort of demonstrates expertise, I guess, at the same time. So I'd say it's massive for anyone.
I love that. I spoke to a business owner the other day, and he mentioned he's a bit worried to do educational content or share it because he thinks that he might be giving it too much away. Have you had a case like that, or do you have any advice for people who might be thinking, too much value? Is that a thing?
I've seen people talk about that, and I've had clients over the years think about that. But I don't really think it's too much of an issue, unless you're in, like, I'm sure there's some niches out there where like having like proprietary information is like really, really important, and they keep everything a real secret. But I would say in 99% of situations, like, you're never going to be able to give away like too much information, because at the end of the day, people are still going to need help with executing it. Like, you can give away all the best information on how to build a personal brand, but someone's still going to be second guessing what platform suits them and like what content suits them and what suits their business. So like, I could turn around and give everything away, but like, yeah, some people should be focusing on Instagram, other people should be focusing on YouTube, other people should be looking at LinkedIn or podcasting or all sorts. And so I think being able to help people with that execution side of things, no matter how much information you give away, there's always going to be so many people that need that.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And do you ever worry about clients who are maybe, there might be some precautionary things when you're around education? Have they ever come to you and they're like, okay, I can't share these areas of the business? How have you navigated that?
As in, like, they're worried.
So, for example, I've got a law company that we run ads for, and it's very hard for them to share anything around clients or anything like that. But obviously, if you're going around the personal brand educational space, how would you navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's tricky situations with law, but equally they don't have to talk about their clients. Like, they could be a lawyer that's talking about content that's in the news. We find that content regarding current events performs way better than anything else because it's already topics that people know about and are familiar with and want to hear about. Like, I mean, at the moment when we're recording, everyone's talking about NZ Muscle and what's going on there.
Oh, God.
If a lawyer was to talk about, like, the legal situation there, and if the people who have exposed them have put themselves at legal risk, if the company's at legal risk, and if they were to break down that would get a ton of views using publicly accessible information just because they're an expert on the topic. And so I think if they're worried about clients and revealing client information, then they can go down that road there.
Yeah, that's so smart. A lot of people wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I think they have to just share everything, but actually, no, you can just take something that's already online. That's great feedback, actually.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you there, but I think if you can weave in sort of loose client stuff, then I think that helps add a lot of expertise, because it's one thing for a lawyer to speak about, what's happening with NZ Muscle, if they can then halfway through the video be like, oh, we had a client who went through something similar, and here's what we like advise them on. You don't even have to talk about what niche they're in or any details, but being able to A, leverage something that's trending, but B, sort of have that credibility of like, oh, you've got a bunch of clients across a bunch of different industries. Yeah, I think is really good for the business as well.
Yeah, no, I like that. All right, talk me through, what makes a good YouTube channel?
I think the biggest thing that helps with YouTube channels is having a good idea behind each of your pieces of content and each of the videos that go out there. We sort of think that most important thing is like good idea, good packaging, and then having an understanding of what you're actually trying to do on YouTube. Like, where is your goal? Are you trying to get as many views as possible and just reach as many people as possible, which I think is sort of a bad goal, to be honest. But, you know, are you trying to grow a business? Are you trying to have an impact on people? And knowing that before creating the content will give you a ton of clarity and direction on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, why do you think that chasing views might be a bad goal on YouTube?
Because it's just going to... It throws you all over the place, basically being a slave to the algorithm. Because if you make one video about one specific topic and it does really, really well, and then you just keep creating more videos going down that line, if that's not aligned with your business, you're going to end up having an audience who want one thing from you, which is just completely different to what you offer.
Yeah, right.
And then anytime you post something that's not within that niche, it's going to get really, really low views. Like, I even think with my channel, to a degree, I've probably pigeonholed it a little bit on Instagram, because all I've talked about is Instagram. And so now if I make a video about how to grow on YouTube, people don't really watch it. And because YouTube sees those like negative signs of like not many people clicking on it, not many people are watching it, they assume it's a bad video and they don't push it out to more people. Even though it could be an incredible video, it's just not hit the right people. The same thing I think you posted on LinkedIn this morning about the trial reels. It's like,
isn't that crazy?
It's
for those
insane.
listening, I posted the exact same video twice. One is a trial reel, and the trial reel hit 2.4 million people, and then the one on my feed, the exact same video, 25,000. The difference. I was like, what the hell is going on?
It's crazy, and I think that's like a clear sign to people that if And it's not necessarily the wrong audience in that situation because it's still marketing content, but I think the same sort of idea can be applied that, yeah, if your content goes down one way and that's all the algorithms expect from you, it can just be really tricky to get out of that. Whereas on the flip side, like if I'd made my content not focused on Instagram, but focused on how business owners can grow their business with social media, it sort of opens me up to create one video about Instagram and then one video about YouTube and then maybe another video where you have someone like yourself come on that knows paid ads and you talk about that, and that because all of that content appeals to that one person instead of having one topic that appeals to lots of people.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Because then you have to fixate on that sort of specific topic.
And you think that's sort of what you've done now, that if you post anything other than Instagram help, it flags you essentially, or doesn't push it out to the right people?
Pretty much. Unless it performs really well, like on the search aspect of things on YouTube, and then it will tick over really well. But I think because my channel's gone, which is not necessarily a bad thing, you know, I've built a strong channel around that, but it means that all that channel can really fixate on is Instagram growth and so on. Yeah,
right. Okay. So if we pull it back, I don't know YouTube very well, but I do post on there. I get like 200 views, but that's okay. Work in progress. I trust the experts. I have a great team I've hired to help me. But on the Instagram side, trial reels for those listening, basically you can post a video that doesn't show up on your profile or your feed, and it's shown to only new audiences who do not follow you. Is there a feature like that on YouTube?
Sadly not.
Okay. So how do you reach the new audiences?
Pretty much just through, and I know it's the boring answer, but like consistently putting out content, and then eventually like maybe one thing hits the right audience and brings in new viewers, and then from that point onwards, you've sort of got that solid audience. Like we had a client who was posting, not Luke, but someone else who does financial content, and he had sort of like 300-400 subscribers, and we did a video about the OCR announcement that was coming out, I think it was last year, and we recorded 2 videos beforehand, before the announcement, based on each of the probable outcomes, and we posted it as soon as the announcement went out, and that video did really well because it was topical. And that brought in a ton of people who are interested in his niche and his content. Like it got, I think, 10,000 views or something. And then from that point onwards, he sort of had that audience of people where it was people who are interested in personal finance in New Zealand. And so every time we created content around that, it was getting pushed to those people, performing well, finding more new people. And sort of ever from that point onwards, all of his content's done reasonably well because he's got that audience. So all it really takes on YouTube is like one video that does well, and doesn't have to be like that where you pre-record it before an announcement, but as long as you have one video that takes off and it's targeting the right people, and then you've got videos coming out after that target the same people, it just builds momentum.
Yeah, I think I saw you post on LinkedIn that sometimes a video from months or even years ago can just randomly take off because of the algorithm. Yeah, talk us through what happens there.
Yeah, it can be all sorts, and a good example is trial reels. Like I created a video because I believe it came out in New Zealand before it came out anywhere else, because these platforms love to test their features with like a English-speaking country that's of a small population, so they don't mess it up for a ton of people. And so I think we got access to trial reels before anyone else, and I created a video based around that, what everyone needs to know about. And it did well at the start, and then it sort of slowed down. But then as trial reels gets released to the rest of the world, everyone's all of a sudden like, what is this? And they start searching for that content, and then they start watching it, and then so a video can just take off. Another one, which I think might have been the post you were referencing, was I'd made a channel that was just posting content about golf, play a bit of golf, interested in golf, and I started a channel on the side that was like breaking down different like courses and events and stories basically. And so it was the story of Augusta National, where the sort of biggest golf tournament of the year is, and I posted it like mid last year, and it got very few views because it wasn't particularly topical. And then it started picking up earlier this year because the Masters tournament was early April, and so people see content like that come up and they're more likely to click on it because it's sort of front of mind, they're interested in it, everyone's getting excited about it, they want to watch a ton of content. And so as soon as YouTube start noticing like more people are clicking on the content, more people are watching the content, they start showing it to more people, and that took the video from literally getting like 3 or 4 views a day to a week later it was getting like 500 views a day, and like a week later it was getting like 5,000 views a day, and it went crazy, just because there was like more interest in that topic.
Yeah, okay, that makes so much sense when you break it down like that. Bring it back to how to start a YouTube channel. I know you've mentioned, so first you start with your idea and you don't want it to be too niche, but how do you come up with the ideas? For example, I saw another YouTuber mention you need to have like 100 ideas in your idea bank and all of the titles and everything ready before you even launch. What do you think about that?
I mean, they probably, that might work for them. I don't love the idea of planning that far ahead when you're first starting, because I think when you're starting with content on any platform, you don't really know what's going to work. And so you start with something and you might post 5 videos and you might notice something about one of them performed really well. So you do a little bit more of what worked there. And if you plan out 100 ideas in advance and you spend all this time doing it, and then you post 10 videos and realize that your strategy needs to pivot a little bit, or some things were performing better than others, then those other 90 ideas might almost be like a waste of time, because they're just no longer
probably going to flop.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think you plan out maybe like 5 or 10 ideas in advance, or even just a handful.
That's a lot less overwhelming. I think 5 ideas is manageable.
Yeah, exactly. Or even just one. Just come up with one good video idea that you can for your niche, create it, post it. You're probably not going to learn a ton from one video, but as you get a few down the road, then you'll start to learn little things of like, oh, this topic performed really well, or this title performed really well, or this thumbnail performed really well. And you can then learn from that and double down on it and go from there. So I think if someone's starting out a channel, it's take a bit of a look at what other channels are doing and what's performing well from them. A lot of people like to go and like copy what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I like to look at what topics are performing well on other channels. So like if I was doing research for my channel, I might look at other people's channels in the niche, and I don't even click on the videos and watch it because I don't want to be like copying what they're talking about, but I might notice that, hey, across these 5 channels, any time that someone talks about how to use trial reels, it gets triple the views of anything else, as that shows that like people are really interested in that topic. And so I might create a video on trial reels. I'm not going to watch their videos and like try and copy their ideas. I'm going to talk about my ideas and what I know about that situation, and go from there.
Yeah, okay, love that, because I see just so many YouTube videos that are literally the same.
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Beast was talking about a couple of channels just copy and paste everything he does, which is crazy. Okay, so you've got your idea. What's next?
The next piece is to think about like the title and the thumbnail. A lot of people sort of do this after the fact that they've created the video, but you sort of want to think, good idea, title, thumbnail that are going to get people to click on the video, because the difference with YouTube compared to other platforms is people are scrolling through Instagram and content is suggested to them and the video just starts. There's no like thumbnail or anything. But on YouTube, people have to actually click on your video to watch it. And so if people aren't clicking on it, doesn't matter how good your video is, then it's not going to go anywhere. And so you want to think about, how can I write a good title and a good thumbnail that is going to get people to click on it? And then you want to think about the hook of the video right at the start that essentially sort of backs up any like promises or expectations that a viewer might have from that title or thumbnail. And it can be really simple, like if you create a video, if you're a mortgage broker that's creating a video about, you know, what they think interest rates are going to do over the next year, and they've got a title that's, you know, where are interest rates heading for 2026, the start of the video can literally just be as simple as, you know, today I'm breaking down exactly what I think interest rates are doing as someone who's got X amount of experience, or, you know, X amount of clients that they've worked with, some sort of social proof. So like back up the promise that you made in the start of, in the title and the thumbnail, and then add a little bit of credibility, and then just get straight into the video. When
you say credibility, what do you mean by that?
So it's almost like, I think Alex Hormozy talks about it, where every time someone's watching your content, especially with educational stuff, it's like, why should they listen to you? Why should they trust you? Just because you've said that you're going to predict interest rates, it's like, yeah, that's great, but if you've got no experience, like, why would someone listen to you?
Yeah, so true.
Adding in a little bit of experience there of like, hey, like, you know, either you've worked this many years in it, or maybe you're new, but, you know, you could say that you've just gone and studied the last 10 years of where interest rates went in New Zealand, and then you could lean on that. So you might be fresh in the industry, but you've spent a ton of time researching that, and people can watch your 10-minute video instead of spending days like trying to research that for themselves.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And do you think, because I know a lot of people think, I need to be a professional, or I need to have like 20 plus years experience in this topic before I can even educate others. Is it just a matter of you just need to be a few steps ahead?
Yeah, I think so.
Like one step ahead?
Yeah. I think sometimes people have to be a little bit careful with that, because you see people like posting stuff telling people what to do, and they might not be that experienced in it, and they might be one step ahead of one person, but they might be speaking with a lot of certainty and convincing people that are actually ahead of them.
Yeah, right.
Or like undermining that. It's like that, I think it's like the Dunning-Kruger thing, where you know a little bit about a topic and you think you know heaps, and you speak with a ton of confidence, and it's not like intended to be bad, but
maybe just talk about your stuff that you're already doing yourself.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned with your Instagram and how you've grown it yourself and what you're actually implementing into your channel, rather than pretending to be the next Alex Hormozi or something, you know.
Yeah. And I think it was something that Alex said, where it's like he tries to always create his content with like how I instead of how to.
Smart.
So it's like instead of how to grow on Instagram, it's like here's how I grew on Instagram. Or, instead of how to get started investing, which can have so many different paths you can go about it, can be how I did it. And how I got started, because no one can dispute what you did. No one can say, like, if I say how to do this, someone can be like, nah, I disagree with that, or, this is wrong. But if I say how I did something, people can learn from it, whilst also no one can really dispute that.
Yeah,
like, you're
so
just
true.
talking from experience.
Yeah, that's actually a good point across not just YouTube, but all content. Like my highest performing LinkedIn post is always like, this is what I did wrong, and here's how I fixed it, and no one disputes it. But I see a lot of posts where it's like, this is how you make $500,000, and people are just roasting them in the comments. So yeah, that's a good point. All right, so you've got your idea, you've got your thumbnail hook. With the hook, is there a difference between, obviously, I think YouTube, because I was looking at some of your videos, and there's like a little 5-second preview of the video at the start before I even click on it, that plays on YouTube and some of the big YouTube channels. And I think Mr. Beast mentioned it. He's like, the first 5 seconds of your video is so important to the first click as well. Do you have any advice on what you do there?
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, you can watch an entire video by just hovering your mouse over it. And so, you can go the whole way through. I think on shorts, you can only see like 3 to 5 seconds. And on long form, it literally can watch the whole video. I haven't tried it, so maybe it cuts out after a minute. But
can you hear the audio?
No, I don't believe so.
So you just watch it. So I guess with the first, you're just hovering over it. How important is the visual aspects then of the first video?
Yeah, I think you just want it to look reasonably good. Like, it doesn't have to be an insane level of production, but if someone hovers over it and it's like terrible lighting, terrible setup, they're probably less likely to click on it. And it doesn't mean you have to have some really fancy setup. Even with my original videos, when I started out, I had a terrible setup, and then I thought, like, if I go and buy a camera for, I think it was like $2,000 at the time, it's like going to make everything look good. And then I got it, and I realized it looked the exact same because I hadn't changed the lighting.
Easy mistake.
Yeah, and so I was like a bit gutted about that. But then I realized, you buy a light for a couple $100 and it makes the video look 10 times better, even if you've got just your phone that you're recording with. So I think having like just decent lighting more than anything probably on YouTube, whether it's lighting or whether it's just natural light, it's gonna make a big difference there.
I want to chat a little bit about retention. So obviously when it comes to social media clips and Instagram, it's like 30 seconds to a minute, but you're trying to get people to watch. Sometimes when it's educational content, it can be 15 minutes to hours long. How do you keep their retention?
I think with YouTube and short form as well to a degree, it's like at the start of the video, you're always trying to convince people to stay by having a really strong hook. And it's like their default is to keep scrolling, or especially on short form, but a little bit on YouTube as well. Like their default is to not watch the content. And so you almost have to convince them to watch the content. But as soon as someone's watched through the start, it sort of flips. Whereas like their default is to stay, unless you sort of do something that makes them not want to stay. Like if you're just waffling on about a topic for way too long and it gets boring, people will click off, but their default usually once they're like invested in the piece of content is to keep watching it. And so I don't think you necessarily have to do anything too crazy unless you're someone like Mr. Beast who's targeting like a young audience who've got really bad attention spans and like he needs to constantly be like one-upping and so on. But if you're just delivering your points, like especially with educational content in quite like a concise way, and you've got some nice edits to supplement it, but it's not like you don't need anything too insane, but you just really don't want to bore people to be honest.
Get
like
to the point.
Yeah, naturally people will watch the content if they've watched through the first few minutes, and so it's just about not doing anything that's going to make them want to leave. Essentially. And I think that's the way people should look at it, is like at the start you're trying to convince someone to watch, and then by that point they're invested, they're unlikely to leave unless you do something badly.
It's interesting because when I look at my short form content metrics in the back end of Instagram, for example, it's always the videos that go viral have the longest watch time. So it's retention focused. Is that similar to what you've experienced on socials and YouTube?
Yeah, definitely. If you can have good retention, like that's so powerful for your content. So many people try and like have this perfect view of the algorithm, and I think it's really tricky because there's so many moving parts, and I don't think any one person knows exactly how any algorithm works. But at the end of the day, the best way that people show that they enjoy a piece of content is by watching it. And I like to use the example on Instagram of someone could be scrolling and like your post but not even watch it because they're a friend, and it doesn't really mean they enjoyed the content. And so like the algorithms can know that, but if you watch the content the whole way through, there's a pretty clear sign that someone's enjoyed it.
So that's why I got the 25,000 views, because all my friends liked it but didn't watch it.
Yeah, potentially. And then like the algorithm finds more people like your friends to show it to, and they're not interested in marketing. Like it's just your mates who have got other interests, and so they go and find more people like that, and then none of those people watch it, and then Instagram's like confused. Whereas when it initially goes to, even if it only goes to 100 people who are really interested in marketing, and they get a good response, and it gets shown to more people who are interested in marketing, great response, it just goes to more and more and more people. Because like retention sort of, the one thing. And short form platforms as well is sends. They really love sends because they want it to be like a social platform. Less so on YouTube, but short form platforms love it when people send content to people because it then makes people want to use the platform more if they're sending content to each other as opposed to just consuming.
I'm chronically sending reels to everyone I know. It's just like, can you leave me alone? So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so retention, you're obviously trying to get people listening for a long time. So that's your video wrapped up. Now that we've finished our video, what's the next steps? Description, how do we get people watching it? Yeah,
like description, tags, all of that stuff that I think in the past people really obsessed over. And again, I myself used to obsess over, whether it be YouTube or Instagram. Spent so much effort on trying to perfect the hashtags and the tags for SEO and all of that. That stuff doesn't really matter the same anymore. Like even YouTube show you, like when you go to put tags into your video, there's a little disclaimer there that says tags will have, I think the word they use is minimal, but they're essentially saying tags have no impact on your video's performance, like unless it's a commonly misspelt word in your title. So like if people are searching the wrong spelling of something, if you put the wrong spelling in tags, it'll help you.
Really?
That's because YouTube's trying to figure it out.
Okay, do that now.
It's not something I've really tried to do much, to be honest, but that's what I imagine the use case of it is. And a big part of that is just because these platforms, they can see a full transcript of every word you've said in a YouTube video. Like when this goes onto YouTube, YouTube know every single word we've said, and that's going to give them a more accurate picture of what the content's about than putting a few lines in the description or putting a few tags in there.
I also, when I watch educational videos, but I'm just a bit lazy, I'll go turn on the transcript and I'll take the entire transcript and I'll like put it into AI and I'm like, break this down for me and give you some, like sometimes it's like an hour and a half video and I'm like, I'm busy. So that's really interesting. So it reads everything from the transcript and then shows people based off what we are talking about. Yeah,
exactly, because it's like more reliable because, you know, you could make a video about one thing and then put a bunch of stuff in the description and the tags that's completely the opposite of it. And so YouTube might get confused on that front. They might show it to the wrong people, but they're going to be pretty reliable looking at your transcript of what you're actually talking about in terms of ranking it. And then title, thumbnail is always really, really important, obviously, as we've sort of touched on before. And it's the same on Instagram. Like Instagram can pick up on the background in your content. They can pick up on like what's visually there. They can see what you're talking about, all of this stuff there, and they can make up a really good picture of what your content's about. And so that's why things like hashtags just aren't important anymore, because 10 years ago, they couldn't do any of that. They couldn't figure out what's being said. They couldn't like look at what's in the images. And so they needed you to put hashtag marketing for people to know it's about marketing. Whereas now, all of that stuff, they've just got an insane amount of data where they can predict that so much more accurately than someone putting hashtags on there that might be putting the wrong hashtags on there. And so that stuff's just not the same importance anymore.
Well, if YouTube, if you're listening, this video should go viral.
Yeah, let's tell them exactly who it's for.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Okay, great. So how important is it to get someone to then click onto your next video? So I follow a YouTuber called Casey Neistat. I'm obsessed with his videos. Do you watch him?
I haven't watched him for a long time, but I watched some of his videos in the past for sure. Like, definitely know who he is.
He's just a blogger who runs around New York City, and he's just so fascinating, and he does like arts and crafts and demonstrates stuff. I love him. But as soon as I watch like 2 of his videos, my entire feed is Casey Neistat. Why is that? What's going on?
I think YouTube just know that if you've watched a couple of his videos, you're probably going to be interested in watching more. Like if you watch one video, it might be a one-off. If they then recommend a couple more and you start watching those, they just know that you're enjoying his content and they're going to show more of it to you. Because all of these platforms are just trying to predict what content you're going to enjoy. And if they see like in the last week you've watched 3 of his videos, you're probably quite likely to watch a 4th. And so getting people to watch multiple videos is just really important, because it's also a sign that people are enjoying the content. Like if someone clicks on your video with a certain expectation and they watch the whole way through, then they go and watch another video and another video, it's just a sign that you're making content that people are enjoying, that's keeping people on the platform. And it just makes it really easy for YouTube to then suggest new content to viewers, because they've got these really strong signs that this person's quite likely to enjoy this person's content. Because I'm the same, and I feel like YouTube just shifts really quickly of what they suggest you based on what you're watching. I can watch 3 videos about one topic and then all of a sudden I've got a ton of videos in there. And the content that I might have been spending years watching, if I haven't watched it in the last month, is just sort of out of your feed very quickly.
Yeah, so true. We have like a work YouTube account that we all share, and sometimes I'll just see like Love Island, and I know just someone in the team is watching like Love Island on YouTube, and it's the entire feed, but that is hilarious.
Yeah. YouTube probably hate trying to predict videos to you guys. You got one person who's watching one niche and then another niche, and it's like if one person's watching Love Island and
Casey
one person's...
Alex Samosi, like what is this business? Like who is this person? You're so right. Okay, so let's jump into shorts, because I think it's great talking to you because you're very knowledgeable on the short form versus the long form. So tell me the difference between shorts on YouTube versus a long form for those who aren't posting on shorts at all.
Yeah, so shorts is just YouTube's equivalent of like Instagram Reels or TikTok videos. It's just anything under 3 minutes in like the vertical sort of format. So if you post something that's vertical that's over 3 minutes, it'll become a regular sort of video. So it's just anything under 3 minutes that's short form content.
How important is it? How important is it to be posting shorts versus long form? Like, is there any preference there?
I think long forms should always be the focus, and then shorts can be a good way to get a little bit of traction, especially early days. You just have to be careful to make sure they are the right sort of niche. Like you don't want a short to just take off and bring in a ton of the wrong people. There's a guy that I follow on LinkedIn who's built some massive YouTube channels, and he said it nearly like ruined his channel because he had a short that got like 100 million views in the wrong niche. Like it was a different to his normal content, and it just took off and got a ton of views, and then all of a sudden YouTube thinks like this is his audience and they keep showing his videos to those people, and it doesn't do well. So
it's making me think of my own shorts now. I'm like, shit, I'm repurposing everything on there, so I need to review that.
Yeah, I would keep it focused. Like I would keep it focused on like the audience that you want and the content that you want. And so we haven't seen massive success personally with shorts a lot of the time. Like we've seen some of them do okay and get picked up, but most of the time it's just been like a good way to get an additional bit of reach to the content, whether it's like a YouTube video or a podcast or something like that. We've had the odd one do well, but it hasn't really been anything insane in terms of reach for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So long form businesses should be doing long form content, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I think social media in general is just all about building trust with people. And I think the best way to build trust is through long form content, because anyone can talk for 30 seconds about a subject. I can jump on ChatGPT and ask it to tell me all sorts about a certain topic, and then I can make a video about it and I can pretend to be an expert on something, but I think I'd struggle to talk for 20 minutes about something that I don't really know a ton about and have a lot of expertise and experience in. And so I think especially with AI becoming bigger and bigger, long form content is becoming even more valuable to just build trust with people. And just the life cycle of the content is so much better than short form platforms. Like sometimes there'll be examples where short form content can perform really well, like after more than a week of it being live. There's definitely situations where that happens, but most of the time it's after the first few days, it's not really getting much more new people on it. Whereas you could have a YouTube video from 5 years ago that's still getting new reach, that's still building trust with people, that's maybe getting picked up by AI because they're seeing the transcript of it and they're using that to recommend you as an expert within your field.
Yeah, genius. AI, let's touch about it. Let's talk a little bit about AI. What are you seeing in the AI space when it comes to content?
Seeing a lot, but probably not using it as much as a lot of other people, because
Can you tell if someone is using AI straight away?
yeah, and I straight away
So can I.
don't trust people if I see they're using
Yeah.
AI content. As soon as I see something on LinkedIn that's like you can tell
Same.
is AI, I'm just like, you probably don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, or you can just, there's the little things that you can see in someone's script. It's always like, it's not this, but it's this.
Yeah.
Or there's, there's just little things that you can see.
Yeah. Oh, but here's the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So what's your opinion when it comes to AI for content creators or even scripting? Like, how are you using it in your business?
I like it for research and so on, and I like it to give me a second opinion on something. But in general, I find it pretty average just because, it's just all over the show. And maybe that's because I'm not using it to the best capabilities. Like I haven't put a ton of time into mastering it. And so, someone might be watching this that knows AI really, really well and they're getting awesome results out of it, and that's great. But yeah, I think a lot of content that is made with AI just performs really badly. And I think the ironic thing is you see people talking about how they built an AI content system and that does really, really, really well because everyone's like intrigued by this new technology, but then the content it actually puts out gets no engagement and no reach.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah, and so I think it's one of those things where like it's great for research, it's great to have it running some automations in the back end. Like I think there's that tool that you talk about, that repurpose IO, and like goes and finds the content that you've got and puts it onto other platforms. Like that stuff's great. But I think in terms of like scripting your content, creating your content, I think it's pretty average. And I think a lot of people sort of shying away from content that they can tell is overly AI as well.
Yeah, there's definitely, I've seen a lot of videos in the creator space about AI and how they don't like it.
Yeah.
Or they're not watching it, which is, I mean, you can't blame them. I look at it and I'm just like, this is slop. This is shit. What about your feedback on the videos where people were saying that video editors are dead because of Claude, or Claude just killed video editors? What do you think?
I think it's a bit ridiculous. Like I think it's smart that they're using that as a hook because it's going to grab a lot of attention. As soon as you start a piece of content with something negative in general of like, this is dead, people are straight away like, what? Like I want to watch that and find out what's happening. Like it creates that curiosity in someone that makes them then want to watch the content to find out what's happening. So, I mean, it performs well as a hook for the individual video, but like it's not true. I mean, again, there's probably like 1% of the people using AI are actually creating good stuff, but they are usually people that are skilled video editors that are then using AI to enhance what they're doing and do a better job of it. If you look at any video that has been edited purely by AI, it doesn't look good. So like, yeah. And
are you seeing like the AI user-generated content creators out there?
Sometimes, especially like at the moment with the World Cup on, I'm seeing all this funny stuff about like players that are AI generated and like
Crazy.
taking the piss out of stuff, and it's quite funny, but yeah.
Crazy world we live in. Okay, I have some questions here that I've asked my audience about YouTube.
Sweet.
So I'm going to fire them your way. The first one is biggest reason most businesses' YouTubes die before they get anywhere.
I think like not having the right strategy in place to like actually see results. Like someone can be putting a lot of effort in, but if like they've just got like a bad title and thumbnail, just from like not realizing it's that important, like just chucking something simple on there, they're not seeing results because of that, or not looking at the right ideas for their content. So not thinking about like what is the audience actually going to be interested in, as opposed to like what are I interested in talking about, like figuring out that side there. And I think the other one that I was sort of talking to a client with recently is sometimes they put in so much effort at the start and then they don't see those instant results because it can be a bit of a long game, that they almost burn out before seeing the results. Like they might be trying to post all this content and after 2 months they're still not seeing results. But if they just slowed it down a little bit and were like, right, we're going to commit to this for 6 months and put out a video every second week instead of every week, I think they would build traction over time and they would get some good results over time, just by not expecting it to happen in that first like month.
That's like anything though, right? I think I posted 100 videos before I even went anywhere, got any followers. So that's so true. What do you think about people who just don't really want to put their face out there but want to educate their customers? Is there room for that on YouTube?
Can be tricky. Like you can create content that is entirely faceless, just by using screenshots of whatever you're talking about to like demonstrate a point. Like if you're talking about certain statistics or ideas, like you can show that on the screen and then you can cut in some stock footage and all of that there. But I think a big part of YouTube is building trust with people, and I don't think you get that same trust aspect by not being in the content.
Maybe post some carousels on Instagram, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, some B-roll or something like that.
Yeah, but it's quite tricky on YouTube to not show your face in content, unless you're going down that like documentary style content where you're sort of talking about a topic and then you're using supporting like footage for it.
Yeah, right. How much money can be made on YouTube?
Yeah, insane amounts of money. Like some of the people that are doing well on YouTube pays better than any other platform, just purely because of that trust. Their audience trusts them so much more than other platforms. Like I don't have any numbers off the top of my head, but even with like podcasts and so on, because there's so much trust there, they sell for insane amounts of money, and the brand deals are massive off the back of it. And just the amount of clients you can generate off the back of YouTube is just really strong because of the amount of trust that people have with you. Because if someone's watched 3 of your videos and they've spent an hour consuming your content and then they get on the phone with you to become a customer, like that's going to be a pretty straightforward sale compared to someone who's never seen you before or, watched a few videos on Instagram. Obviously, if they've watched some content, it's going to be better than nothing. But the more someone is consumed, the more likely they are to trust you, buy from you, etc.
Yeah, 100%. I had a client reach out to me the other day and he's like, I've been listening to your podcast. Can we have a call? I was like, holy shit, this is a great client. So yeah, you're so right. When it comes to making money on YouTube, so just to be clear, there's obviously you get money by posting videos with ads, right? And then also you get brand deals or opportunities to land clients. Like there's a whole bunch of different ways to make money on YouTube. Yeah,
there's all sorts. So once you can get monetized on YouTube once you've got 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, which roughly equates to like 100,000-ish views across long form content. And so once you get there, YouTube will start paying you for every roughly 1,000 views on your channel.
So it's just views, it's not even ads on YouTube?
There's a lot of calculations that go into it, but it's essentially based off how many ads are shown, but that's usually determined. They'll give you a rate per 1,000 views, which is your CPM, so it's like your cost per mil, which is 1,000, I think in Latin or something. And so that might be $20, and then you'll have your RPM, which is your revenue per mil, which is how much you're actually getting paid per 1,000 views. So if of those 1,000 views, 800 of those people watched the whole video and saw an ad, then you're going to have quite a high RPM compared to your CPM.
Right.
Whereas if like a lot of people clicked on the video, but it was like real clickbait, and then they just straight away left, and only 300 of them saw an ad, the amount that you get paid per 1,000 views will be a lot lower because less of them are actually seeing ads.
So another reason for retention, basically.
Pretty much.
Keep them watching.
Yeah.
And you mentioned brand deals and obviously signing clients, which is something I've experienced personally, which has been great. But yeah, talk a little bit around the brand deals. What have you seen in your space?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess, what specifically are people curious on, do you think?
Well, I mean, how do you land a brand deal on a YouTube video? Would be amazing if people are looking to do that.
I've, personally, it's always been companies have reached out after seeing content.
Cool.
I haven't been super proactive about it. At times, I have reached out to a few businesses that I've wanted to work with. But I think, people just see the content. And if they're interested, if they're a business that's trying to get in front of those people, I think they're going to reach out naturally. But at the same time, I think it's also good to reach out to brands who might be interested in sponsoring. I think it's trickier in New Zealand at the moment because I think businesses are starting to realize how powerful it is. I think they're starting to realize how powerful YouTube and podcasts as well. Over the last year or so, there's probably been way more money has flown into sponsoring that content than there was years prior. I think if you've got a bit more of an international audience, you'd probably get a lot more brand deals reaching out, just purely because I think those businesses are a little bit, or those countries are a little bit further ahead in how much they value
well, they've got so much money as well.
Yes, that also helps. It's nice getting paid in US dollars.
Yeah, isn't it? And YouTube's a great gateway, or even posting content alone, bringing in those international customers, because even I ran a masterclass last night or yesterday, and I had Albania or in China come along, and that would never be the case if I wasn't posting on social, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like you say, you can get access to businesses and countries that have got way bigger budgets, way more to spend, that are happy to spend the money and want to learn, and it's pretty cool. There's
some money out there apart from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Lots of it. Okay.
Yeah, all my clients originally were in the US pretty much, because I got all of them through content. I was based down in Nelson where I grew up, and all my clients came from posting content. Now since I've been in Auckland, I've got a lot more clients here just through meeting people and so on. But originally it was all overseas pretty much through content.
Yeah, I haven't even asked you, who do you work with?
These days we're mostly doing YouTube, so we do a lot of stuff obviously with Luke, with Keep the Change, and
we love Luke.
Yeah, he's a good bugger. But most of our clients nowadays are in New Zealand, and so it's just a bunch of podcasts and YouTube channels. So a lot of I wouldn't say most of the prominent YouTube channels, but a lot of them across sort of educational content in New Zealand we've probably helped at some point in time. Don't have as much overseas stuff these days. It is mostly here. So, just a bunch of podcasts and YouTube channels across New Zealand. Yeah,
amazing. Luke with Keep the Change, his channel is growing massively. But you guys started that quite a while ago, didn't you?
Yeah, it's just over 2 years. So I think he had about 800 or 900 subscribers when we started working with him, and we were initially just sort of doing short form clips and so on for him from the episodes, for social media. And then once he moved into his... I think before he had his own studio, we started doing the titles and thumbnails on YouTube. And then now that he's got his own place, then we just help do all of that, all the production side of things and strategy and so on. And he's grown really well. I think he's about to hit 25,000 subscribers. So
epic. I love it. He deserves it.
Yeah, he does. He puts out so much content and just pushes it real hard. He's got podcast a week going out, and he's got his money mail going out, and then he's recording some solo videos to go out, and then he's got 2 going on Next Advisory every week.
Do you sleep?
It's insane whilst trying to run a business and speak, and
lots going on. Oh, he's a legend. But when it comes to his content, obviously there's a lot. I think I just watch him iPhone and the Tesla, talking to the camera, that goes on YouTube. Versus you mentioned the money mail, which is a totally different type of content, and then you've got the sit down podcasts, which are quite high production. Which ones work the best? Or are they all just kind of working with each other?
Yeah, it honestly all comes back to the idea and the topic more than anything. Like if you give me a really good idea for a piece of content and he films it himself, like he did a video recently about taxes on rental properties, which has done really well because it's quite a topical thing at the moment. Everyone's trying to figure that out. And so that was just one that he just filmed at his whiteboard and no real fancy lighting or anything like that. And it's done really well. Equally, if there was like a...
Whiteboard videos just pump. I don't know why. But whenever I see someone with a whiteboard, I'm like really intrigued. I'm like, this guy knows their shit.
Yeah.
Or this girl knows her shit.
I think it is that credibility that comes from, I don't know, maybe it's like built in from going through school, like you're listening to the teacher that's on the whiteboard and so on, and so maybe there's some credibility there. But yeah, it all comes back to the idea, because you could also have a real fancy podcast set up, but if it's not got the right sort of idea or packaging to it, then it's just not going to do that well. Whereas again, the reverse is also true. If you've got a really solid idea and piece of content for YouTube and you film it on a podcast, it'll go insane. So it pretty much all comes back to that.
Yeah, it's like another thing where don't wait for the fancy gear, just get going and you'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned some social clips there. So how important is posting the social clips to then, does it drive more traffic to the YouTube channels?
I think people, get that one a little bit wrong, because I think logically it makes sense that if you've got a podcast and you post some clips from it, it's people going to watch it and then go and watch the long form, and like that's a pretty fair assumption to have, that I've had as well. But if you think about it, like when was the last time you saw a clip and you went and watched the long form?
I don't think I ever have.
Yeah. And
unless it's like really controversial and then I'm like, fuck, I need to watch that. Like the NZ muscle thing.
Yeah.
I saw like a short clip and I went straight to the YouTube channel, but generally never.
Yeah, and you might consume, I don't know, I think people consume like at least probably 1,000 pieces of short form content every day. And if there's only like a handful of times you can actually think of that you then went and watched the long form, I don't think, and I've seen lots of content around it, that it drives traffic directly, but I think indirectly, if you stumble across a reel and you like it from a podcast and they've got some interesting things to say, you watch it all the way through, you might not like it, you might not follow them, but Instagram or YouTube see that sign, and so next time they post something, it starts showing up in your feed, you watch a couple of them, you enjoy it, you might follow them, and then you keep watching their content over time, and then maybe one day something pops up on YouTube and you're like, oh, I've like already seen that person on Instagram. There's a bit of trust built in. You click on it, you watch it, and it comes about that way. Or they post something on their story and you like jump onto their newsletter. And so I think it's one of those things that happens slowly over time, as opposed to someone sees a clip and then they directly go and watch the long form.
Yeah, right.
It's just that like slow building awareness, building brand, I guess, and then like eventually it trickles over.
No, I like that. Building brand, that's because I have a digital marketing agency, obviously, and I'm always like, we need brand to make paid work, so it works hand in hand. But obviously, if you're a business owner and there's all of these channels, right? We need to be on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube now, podcast, whatever it is. Like, how do we know which ones to focus on?
I think it's a real case-by-case situation. Like, it depends what someone's trying to do, and it also depends how much time they have to put into content. Like, if someone doesn't have much time to put into content, they probably shouldn't be too focused on YouTube. They might be better off looking at another platform. Equally, you can have a pretty simple video that does reasonably well because you know what you're talking about, and you can knock out a YouTube video in an hour maybe and put that out each week. But yeah, I think it really depends on where someone's at. I prefer YouTube over anything else, just because of, I guess, some of the stuff we've discussed today, where you build a lot more trust, in my opinion. I think it's a little bit more predictable at times as well. Like, no social platform's overly predictable. It's a little bit all over the show, but I think it is a little bit more predictable, and just the life cycle of a piece of content going for so long. I personally think it's the best platform that I would want to jump into, but like I say, it depends what someone's trying to do, how much time they have, and what they're comfortable doing. You're
on like all of the social media channels, and you're still saying YouTube, so that's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, I've barely posted on my Instagram in like years just about. I need to get back into putting up stuff because I've probably just been a bit lazy on that side of
Business
things.
owners, we do it. We
I
get
tell everyone
overwhelmed.
else what to do and then don't do it myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's awesome. Our last couple of questions, but I guess for anyone who is listening and is a little bit afraid to start, because it's a common question I get. It's like, I want to do all these things, but I'm just really scared to start. What would your advice be?
I guess it depends what they're scared of. Like if they're worried about like the judgment of other people, I think they almost just need to jump in and start doing it and accept that, some people are probably going to have some negative things to say, sadly, because there's people out there that are going to give you a bunch of shit for no real reason just because you're going after something that they're probably too scared to do themselves. If they're overwhelmed with like what to do, like they really want to start but they don't know what to do, then either just pick one and run with it and like don't overthink it too much. Like jump into any platform, give it consistency, give it time, you'll probably get some results over time. Or if like they've got a little bit of money to spend, then seeing if they can find someone who knows what they're talking about that they can pay for 30 minutes of a call on the phone to like understand where they're at and like what they need to do. So it probably depends like what they're scared of, but I think the other one maybe is if they're trying to like record content and they're not that comfortable just doing it consistently. You can pull out your phone and record something every day and not even post it, and you can do that for a month and you'll be so much better at articulating yourself and creating content that by the time you do start posting, you're not going to be perfect by any means, but you'll be a lot more comfortable and confident. So it's probably a few things that maybe people can work with.
I think those are probably the two biggest like misconceptions people have is I don't want to put myself out online because I'm going to get it bullied or attacked or I don't know, feedback or whatever it is, and you're worried about that. Happens to all of us. I just block, delete or ignore
I think
as well.
I think one thing that I've said to a few guests that have come on Keep the Change when they've been like a little bit nervous is there's some, I can't remember who said the quote, but it's like the only way to avoid judgment is to be nothing, do nothing and say nothing. And I think that's like, as soon as you think about it like that, of like, you're never ever going to avoid judgment unless you literally do nothing. Like you could have the kindest thing to say on the internet and someone's going to turn around and say that you're wrong or whatever because they've got completely different life experiences or they're having a shit day and they say something rude, and it's like, there's no way to avoid it entirely. You just got to accept that it's probably more a reflection of them than you.
Yeah, that's so true. And what's next for Josh Ryan and Clever Shop, your business as well?
Nothing like big and crazy. I just want to keep chipping away at what we're doing, like keep getting better at what we do for clients, at what we're doing for my own content, and just keep building. I think in the past I've maybe had like these big things that I wanted to change, but I think now I'm getting to the point where I just want to like just slowly chip away and every day get a little bit better at what we're doing, become more skilled myself at what I'm doing and working with clients and managing a team and all of that side of things. And just over time, that's just going to stack up and get to a really good place.
Yeah, that's a lot anyway because it's a lot on your plate. So no, you've done an amazing job, and thank you so much for coming on today and breaking down everything. If people want to learn a little bit more from you or even work with you, where can they find you? You should be able to search Josh Ryan on anything and be able to find me, like youtube.com/Josh Ryan, Instagram.com/Josh Ryan. We'll put those links below.
Or Cleverpreneur is my website that people can go to if they're interested in that side of things.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.